Mom, I always knew this was my destiny. Those were the words of my son. Inwardly, I was screaming, how can this be your destiny? What does this mean for your life? Outwardly, I held him tight and I whispered, I love you with all my heart. And then I turned and walked away, not knowing when I would see or speak to him again. Because he was about to step into something that would change both of our lives forever. He chose to stand for honesty, integrity, justice, and purpose. That moment was the 12th of February 2023, the day my son entered the Witness Protection Program. Today I want to share with you a simple truth. Legacy is not measured by what we leave behind in money or titles. It's measured by the values we live and pass on. Values like courage, integrity, and hope are the real building blocks of tomorrow. Before all of this, my son was like most other young professionals, ambitious, passionate about his work, dreaming of the future he was building day by day. He had a wife, a home, a family, a career, a real sense of purpose. But then he saw behind the curtain, and he faced a choice none of us want our children to have to make. Stay silent and stay safe, or speak up and risk it all. I know something about silence. As a child, I carried secrets far too heavy for my tiny shoulders. I learned early what it meant to feel powerless. My son would not be silenced. He knew the risks, and he paid the price. He came forward and exposed financial crimes involving hundreds of millions of dollars. And for that, he lost his wife, he lost his home, he lost his career, he lost his safety, and ultimately, he lost his freedom, because truth often demands sacrifice. Back in January of 2023, when I got the call, "Don't panic, he's been detained," my entire world shattered. The sleepless nights, the frantic calls, the overwhelming sense of panic. And then his quiet voice on the phone, "Mom, I'm going to die." With every fiber of my being, as a mother, an attorney, and a survivor, I was ready to go to war with every weapon I had in my arsenal, not just as his mom, but as his fiercest protector. My son's story may sound extreme, but the truth is, every whistleblower I know faces hard choices and extreme sacrifice. Their journey is a silent storm that many walk alone, and yet, this was his path, his choice, his destiny. My role was not to rescue him. It was my unexpected destiny to walk beside him through the fire. What I didn't realize, at least not yet, was that my entire life had been preparing me for this very moment. When he said this was my destiny, I realized his values weren't born in that moment. They were forged slowly, quietly, over years, and so were mine. You see, like many of you, I carry a story of my own, a story of trauma, silence, and secrets. Sexual abuse, domestic abuse, harassment, bullying, grooming. I wore a mask that said, "I'm fine," but inside I was broken, small, and utterly powerless. But these traumas shaped not only what I believe in, but who I am, and they prepared me for His purpose. Every scar became a lesson, every wound a whisper of strength that forged values greater than fear. And although I didn't realize it at the time, every trial that I faced was forging the values that would one day enable me to walk beside my son through the fire. So I wonder, what fires have you faced? A job loss, a broken relationship, perhaps a diagnosis. Your test may not come in the form of a headline or a courtroom battle. It may come in a meeting, in a hospital room, or in a single conversation that changes everything. But I know that you have faced moments when you've had to choose to speak up or to stay silent, to take the easy road or the right one. None of us is left unscarred by trauma. Each of us has faced moments when the easy route would have been to shrink back. But what defines us, what defines our legacy, is whether we give in to the fear or step into the flames despite it. South Africa needs more than just dreamers and doers. It needs courageous leaders who live their values without compromising truth. Destiny is not written in the stars. It's written in daily choices, in classrooms, in courtrooms, in boardrooms, and in our families. And every choice either builds or destroys the future we pass on. 25 years ago, I came across a poem in a book, The Invitation by Orion Mountain Dreamer, and it has lived with me ever since. At different stages in my journey, different lines have carried me, but as I stand in the fire with my son today, one stanza speaks to me more than ever. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. I won't. When the fire comes, and it will you shrink back? What legacy will you leave? What values will you live and model, even when it's costly? South Africa will not be rebuilt by laws and leaders alone. It will be rebuilt by ordinary people making extraordinary choices to speak up, to act with courage, and to stand for truth. The world doesn't change because we speak about values. It changes because we live them fiercely, visibly, and without apology. When my son looked at me and said, "Mom, I always knew this was my destiny," I understood. Our legacies are not written in our successes and our titles. They're written in the quiet, difficult moments when no one is watching. And when we live the values that those moments forge, we build a tomorrow based on honesty, integrity, justice, and purpose. So I ask you today, will you step into the center of the fire with me and not shrink back?